Welcome back, everyone, to StarSeries Season 3, brought to you by StarLadder and iLeague. We are down to our last match of the day, match number 5. Thanks for joining us thus far, and thanks for sticking with us to the end. I'm DT, with me is Firebet. It's going to be Neirea versus BunnyHoppor. A couple of winners from earlier in the day.
And some interesting deck lists between the two of them. One deck that's going to be super interesting to watch and to look out for is BunnyHoppor's N'Zoth Shaman. Did he crack the code? Did he figure out the best variation of Shaman? Is Shaman going to be the next T1 meta deck? What do you think?
Are you jealous? Are you jealous of his N'Zoth Shaman? Could you not make a better deck than him?
Well, I mean, probably not. I'm not even in the tournament, so...
Well, you were practicing on ladder. I'm just pulling your leg.
Okay,
but,
yeah. I have been playing some N'Zoth Shaman. I think it's a very, very fun deck to play. I recently did a little bit of a deck doctor thing on it. It's a very interesting deck. There's so many different things to consider with it, with the Ancestral Spirits, the Facelesses, all that sort of stuff. And it's just a unique play experience from a lot of other Hearthstone decks. So it's definitely fun to watch and gives a lot of possibilities. But it is one of those reactive decks. So it falls into a category where the more information your opponent has about it, right? The more information they know how you can react to things, they start seeing, well, you only run this many storms, you only run this many devolves, you run this many volcanoes, whatnot. Then the better they can set up their position where your reactive cards are worse. If they don't know which reactive tools you have, then they might accidentally walk right into your removal spells. And since the deck has already been played by BunnyHoppor quite extensively in his first series against Dr. Hippie, Neirea, I'm sure, being a professional that he is, has went back, watched that VOD, knows a lot of the cards in the Shaman deck, and is going to try and play around that AoE as effectively as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And even things like, the title surge just kind of gives away the ratio of threats to answers in the deck. So, as scary as it can be to let your opponent have multiple things, wide eyes with the echo, still, sometimes you can play the matchup a bit slowly if you feel it's if it's beneficial for you to do so.
And we see Neirea going here with a Druid ban, a little bit interesting. Jade Druid has been one of the highest win rate decks very, very consistently throughout the past few tournaments. So BunnyHoppor will not be playing that and is going to be forced to play as Rogue. We've not seen the Rogue yet. Could be Quest Rogue, could be Miracle Rogue, but Neirea wants to find out. But the first game coming up for us today, it's going to be the Jade Druid from Neirea with his Curator and Hungry Crab tech up against BunnyHoppor's Murloc Paladin. So you got to imagine he's going to be trying to find that Hungry Crab and get some crazy swing turns out of it.
Did you get to check Neirea's mulligan right now?
He had the Curator in it and then tossed that away. He's got Wild Growth, Jade Idol, Innervate. Crazy strong and powerful hand, but it's worrisome about running out of gas.
Right. I was just wondering if he wanted a full mulligan for those Hungry Crabs, or if he has more than one in the deck. But yeah, this is it's a pretty okay start here from BunnyHoppor. Really would like to see some Murloc synergy in the hand.
Right.
If you're him, but you at least have a pretty reasonable start as far as getting just early minions on the board.
Yeah, you can't complain about a 1-3 facing down a 1-1. That's pretty ideal. But Neirea on the other side, he has got a crazy amount of ramp and Innervate on top of it. He just needs anything to spend his mana on after he gains so much mana, and that's huge right there.
That fills out your curve.
Yeah. Talk about powerful. But goes with the Hydrologist to be able to get the secret out so you can go secret plus Rock Pool on the next turn. Doesn't really benefit from the +1/+1 at the moment. So getting more information about those potential secrets.
It benefits if you go face. Right, well, both Noble Sacrifice and Redemption are reasonable options here. Noble Sacrifice can be pretty annoying if the Druid's kind of needing mana to make its play rather than use hero power to take that out. And as far as Redemption is concerned,
Redemption's usually the pick.
Yeah, you retain a Murloc, which is always threatening for your opponent.
Exactly. Like, Noble Sacrifice can sometimes retain a Murloc, but Redemption is a lot more controlled most of the time at saving a higher priority target.
Yeah, and when your dudes are also Murlocs, probably going to get one of those guys back. Or at least a Murloc, I mean. Well, Neirea, he could just go for Jade Blossom, Innervate Jade Blossom, and if you don't if you don't believe you're gonna draw a Gadsden anytime soon,
right?
You're gonna already have the mana anyway, and you might as well get, a 3/3 on the board.
Yeah, that's the risk of it. You discard value with gadgets in for immediate tempo now. And I like that. I think that's one of the biggest priorities at this point in time is you got to stop these Murlocs from snowballing. You want to try and shut it down the best you can. I say you throw as much stats on the table, and you kind of scoop to War Leader with that play, though, because you limit your ability to react to War Leader. So if you do innovate out the second Blossom and your opponent plays War Leader, they get double value trade, and you're really scared. And Neirea says, I'm going to play for the future. I'm not going to try and risk that right now. We can beat War Leader. I'm going to take this game slow.
We can beat him. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
got a plan.
Rock Pool plus Redemption feels reasonable right now. You can obviously tell BunnyHoppor wants to go for the coin into Finja as quickly as possible.
Right. So.
And he's drawn a few Murlocs, so likely to pick up War Leader off of it.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a very, very powerful Finja. You have to imagine he's going with the Rock Pool. Or he could go with, I guess, Hydrologist and try and find a better secret here, but the value trade is just too appealing to me, and keeping the Murlocs in play.
Yeah. And this throws off your opponent too, right? This could be Repentance. So if they have Jade Behemoth, for instance, I'm feeling too good about it.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and check and see that it is Redemption. And might just play a Temple Fandro. Temple Fandro out. The opposite of what I just said.
Vulnerable to True Silver Champion or Kings, but it's just the best stats you can put on the board right now, and that's what Neirea needs. That's what he wants. If he's going to come back in this game, he needs to try and stop BunnyHoppor from being able to make plays like Coin Finja as efficiently, because you threaten to take out his whole board.
Yeah, but the thing is, BunnyHoppor probably doesn't feel too bad about just playing the True Silver here with a bunch of, the Finja default the following turn, Consecration to help out with the trades, not to mention the Aldor.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're feeling pretty good.
So yeah, BunnyHoppor feels good about the True Silver, but Neirea knew he would feel good about the True Silver. He knew how that lined up into the Fandrel, and he has a Gluttonous Ooze in his hand, ready and waiting. So, limiting the amount of Murlocs on the table. Taking a swipe. Hero power. Now, this works out well for him because removing all the Murlocs plays around Gentle Megasaur and other Murloc buffs, and it's not like BunnyHoppor can really do anything with this True Silver, so it's always going to be hanging around if you don't develop anything. So Neirea can just answer it on the following turn.
Yeah, it was really tempting if you're, just a normal player sitting there going, oh, True Silver, I ooze that. But he's like, I don't need ooze now. I can just wait because he's not going to swing at my face.
And if he does, you're pretty happy about it. Then you save ooze for the second True Silver.
Yeah.
Because him swinging at your face accomplishes a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Well, Finja does get value here, but you have to expend either Quality or Consecration, unless he picks up some other form of damage. But you're kind of happy doing so, just to thin out your deck, especially because, like we see, he is running the mid-range variant. So that gets you closer to your Tyrians. Or Tyrion.
Yeah, Consecrate
things like
pretty
Tyrion.
Good right now. You probably don't want to blow the Equality on it, especially since you can't really do anything with the mana that you're gained after the Equality, and that's why you get a healthier Finja anyway.
Yep.
And
right, wants to hit a War Leader just to keep his Finja a bit healthy. Does not get it.
he could play the Hydrologist and coin out a secret. Something could potentially, save Finja. He could get a Redemption. Redemption on Finja is exceptionally powerful because it regains the stealth.
Getaway Kodo as well is pretty nice here. Makes it very annoying. Those are none.
Yeah.
Noble Sacrifice, I guess. Repentance is okay.
Yeah.
Noble Sacrifice could
is
be
pretty good because this is the Primordial Drake turn for Neirea.
Right.
And it's a very ideal Primordial Drake board for him, or so he thinks. Until that Repentance comes down and your 1/3 kills your Primordial Drake. But expending the coin there for BunnyHoppor means he can no longer coin out Ragnaros the Light Lord.
Yeah. Well, Neirea sees the Repentance, but even if he knew this was Repentance, he still makes the Gadgetzan play this turn.
He has to. He just has no other options, and he's got to fight back on this board.
So he can Earthen Scales to get a value trade, but he probably just wants to kill out this Finja, so going to put it onto his Gadgetzan. Trades 3-1 into the 2-1 unless he just picks up some more stuff to work with. Wow! That Innervate. And that Wrath. Oh my goodness, that's another 2 cards into his hand. BunnyHoppor kind of fidgets in his chair a little bit because this game is turned around.
Oh yeah, this is triggering.
Wow. And now this Gadgetzan is almost back to 4 health.
Yeah. You hate to see that if you're a BunnyHoppor, man.
Wow. That's a goal. At least he picked up that, but still.
Yeah, hits the 1/7 drop in his deck, I believe. Not a lot of other 7 drops often ran in mid-range Murloc Paladin, so that's very fortunate. But even still, that hurts a lot. It seemed like BunnyHoppor was going to be able to close this game out quite easily based on the start, but that miracle turn, that deserved a banana.
Well, yeah, the issue here for BunnyHoppor is that Neirea has such a high life total, and he's already at 4/4 Jades that he can really just take his time here, build up his Jades, and deal with whatever his opponent has to deal or has to throw at him.
Yeah, he could even tempo Gadget this turn if he really wanted to, just Gadget swipe so that the Gadget would be in play, forcing BunnyHoppor to True Silver or something like this, so that you can kind of prevent your opponent from playing Tyrion, because Neirea does have the Nourish for the reload anyway, so he's not really too concerned about this Gadgetzan's life total. So using it as a tool here to stop BunnyHoppor's development is extremely powerful. And BunnyHoppor doesn't even have a tool to answer it, so his best option is still just to develop into it, and he is going to get punished.
Yeah, I would say so. The one thing is that if BunnyHoppor plays the Rag here, even if Neirea goes off, he still might not have a way to deal with it.
I mean, he could just double trade into it on board.
Yeah, true.
His board can deal with it, and he is going to draw his entire deck.
That is true. I guess you don't really care about saving your Gadgetzan after it's done his damage.
Yeah, you just use it, abuse it, then lose it, man. It's a sad life for a Gadgetzan auctioneer.
But he's got the best deals anywhere, though. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Nourish into a pseudo Nourish.
He's about to be sold out of deals after this.
Neirea has so much value in hand. He's thinking about just playing out the Jade Sphere right now because, his next turn is Aya plus something. His next turn after that is Jade Behemoth plus something. That's basically 3 draws added to his hand right now, if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
So, and does he need the tempo more than he needs, 3 extra cards in his hand? Is the question he's asking.
I like it. Having Aya and a Jade Behemoth, you're fine. You're fine on plays to do. Why do you need more cards? You got another Nourish in there, you'll eventually find. I think he has enough resources to close out the game before he runs out of steam. So it makes sense to just play out the minion and say, you know what, that's enough drawing. I don't want to overcommit to drawing and then have 0 things on the board and let the Paladin have a chance to crawl back in this.
Yeah, now he has the board control. It's hard for BunnyHoppor to gain it back on this particular turn, particularly with the Hunger Cram in hand. It seems like, and Neirea's like, okay, I got this. Any Murlocs I can deal with. Any big minions is kind of okay, like even Tyrion. It's annoying, but I can handle it.
Right. You can just hero power down the bubble, trade both minions in, drop Aya, and then he's played more stats than Tyrion and dealt with Tyrion.
Yeah. And the thing to remember is that this deck that BunnyHoppor is playing, it's pretty resilient, it's, reasonably good at outlasting even some control decks, but not really the Jade Druid. So Neirea just feels like, okay, I just don't want to die anytime soon.
And here comes the hungry crab.
So hungry.
Very hungry.
He's not like the Galaka Crawler. That guy he gets buff off of Murlocs. +2/+2. Trades are somewhat awkward here if you're Neirea. He's kind of debating whether or not he wants to just go for like a wild growth with his Aya and his Hungry Crab, or if he wants to ping off this Divine Shield before it starts going potentially crazy. If your opponent has, for instance, another Gentle Megasaur and a Murloc War Leader in hand, and suddenly he's smacking you for quite a lot with like Wind Fury or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Could also play Primordial Drake this turn, even if he wanted. Knock off all the bubbles, trade in the 2/3 into the 5/4 Hungry Crab, the 3/3.
Seems like what he's doing.
Yeah, use the worst card in your hand. So they still kind of have to equality clear this, otherwise you're threatening to kill them in a couple different ways. So puts a lot of pressure on your opponent while using the worst cards in your hand possible. Doesn't commit the big Jade cards.
Yeah, BunnyHoppor has the equality clear with the Primordial Drake, but like you mentioned, it's just, well, Aya-chan, go out there, be someone.
You hate clearing this, so you don't want to clear it if you don't have to. So BunnyHoppor's probably going to try and play Tyrion or whatnot. Then Neirea's plan is like, all right, so if you've played Tyrion into this board because you don't value it enough to AoE clear it, then I'm going to push enough damage through that while playing Aya that when you do finally AoE clear, the Aya Jade Golem sticks around and I kill you behind that. But the Primordial Drake taunt might have something to say about that.
The size of Neirea's Jades are somewhat awkward, though.
Well, you can just clear with another Primordial Drake.
Yeah, true. That will do the trick. Now this has to get cleared, or else, like you mentioned, BunnyHoppor's going to die.
Right. Most likely seeing the quality Primordial Drake. He could try and juice it. With the Aldor Burn Bristle kind of play.
He could just Primordial Drake, but then you're losing your quality activator.
You don't want to do that. You're going to need to activate that bad boy.
Yeah.
But if you equality clear here, you win.
You do get a big Drake on the field, but you're not really threatening Neirea. Neirea doesn't really care. He's at pretty high life total.
It's important to be able to start connecting this Ashbringer, though.
Yeah, true.
You do need to start doing that. I think just for that reason alone, I like clearing here, because if you don't start swinging with this, the Jades are just going to keep getting bigger, and it's going to keep getting harder and harder to find time to utilize all three of these charges.
Well, Jadel is shuffled into the deck. Neirea feels like he needs the gas. And this is the thing, is that it seems like there's inevitability with the Druid, but... Or it seems like, a lot of Druid games flow like this, right? They get a bit behind, and then they just come back with a vengeance and just win behind their Jade stuff. But I've seen matches where the Murloc Paladin has that one turn where they put a bunch of Murlocs in the field and go War Leader, Gentle Megasaur, and just smack them for a bunch. And usually it's not lethal, but the Druid doesn't have enough to kill everything in the field. And then it's kind of a two-turn lethal setup.
Well, that's what BunnyHoppor's trying to do. He has the ability to use Aldor Peacekeeper here, kind of neutralize one of the big Jade minions and push a lot of damage while also developing a kind of threatening board. The most threatening board, I guess, would be Harrison Jones alongside the Hero Power, simply because the War Leader and Megasaur threaten to buff the little 1/1 on the following turn. So I'd like to see that.
We've seen a swipe from Neirea, so he could potentially, if he picks up another medium-sized minion next turn, speaking of BunnyHoppor, just go for Wicker Flame and then another Hero Power and, really threaten a lot.
Push! It's happening.
He's going for it.
It's got 18 damage represented on the board.
He's just trying to hold on, get these Jades rolling. But with that, Wrath is able to start take out the Murloc on the field, which is a really big deal.
Yeah, that Murloc was actually quite dangerous. And he sets up a lethal of his own, kind of shutting down everything BunnyHoppor was trying to get going.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's an I and a 1/5. Oh no. Wow. Tyrion? Can't really play it. The problem with Tar Creeper into Wicker Flame is that you don't develop a Murloc, which you kind of need right now.
You could take Goldshire Footman from max tempo, allowing you to play the most amount of cards on this turn possible.
Could be the play.
It honestly could be.
Well, maybe not, because then you're allowing the hero power plus the 1 attack minion to get through that and likely just die.
Okay. I'm not really sure exactly how much pressure is on the board, but I know there's a lot.
Yeah.
He's trying to set up these Murlocs very desperately.
He's overloading the hero power of the Druid and the 1 attack damage of the Jade Golem here, so that they can't all hit the Goldshire Footman and the Wicker Flame. But that taunt probably going to seal the deal here. I don't think there's any lethal because there's just not enough attacks. In fact, he can't even connect one thing to face unless a Kodo kills something off.
All right, the Kodo can kill off. He can hero power Kodo.
Yeah, if Kodo kills off the Wicker Flame, then he is lethal.
Yeah, exactly. He hero powers the Goldshire Footman, trades in with the 1/5, trades the 7/7 into the 1/4, and then he has a 50-50 for lethal if he wants it. But if he misses, it's a little awkward.
If he misses, then he has to throw both of his minions into the Wicker Flame. There's 8 damage on the field. He goes on to 6 because he didn't put the taunt. Doesn't die, but still pretty scary. Right. He's going to go for it, actually.
Yeah. You take the 50-50 for lethal here because it's just kind of scary on the back end of what the Paladin's damage could produce.
Yeah, worst case scenario, which does occur, he doesn't get it.
He killed the Murloc.
He kills the Murloc, so he's not really going to die.
Right. So now there's not really any outs for BunnyHoppor unless he had, a True Silver Champion in hand or a Consecrate already in hand. But I'm fairly certain Neirea is pretty confident, based on how BunnyHoppor keeps trying to squeeze out these hero powers and hide them behind taunts, that he knows it's like War Leader, Gentle Megasaur, or Double Gentle Megasaur.
Yeah. I think he's seen... Yeah, we've seen one of the Gentle Megasaurs already with the Divine Shield. So, yeah. I do not think BunnyHoppor can get out of this one. He can Eldor the 9/7. Well, maybe he can. He can kill off the 8/6. He has to, or else he's dead.
Right.
7, 10, 11, 12. So he's not dead, but he loses all kind of board presence here.
He's effectively dead.
Yeah, because he has just no more resources.
Right.
Divine Shield, most likely, just to make things annoying. And, yeah.
So you can kind of just go all in here as Neirea because your opponent's going to draw 1 card, and that 1 card is not an equality combo. The combo is 2 cards. So you just take all of the trades, and then next turn you kill him with a ridiculous amount of power.
Or you could just not trade. Either way. Either way is fine. Right, well, half measures, kind of, sort of. BunnyHoppor cannot pick up anything off the top. Well, maybe. Still has to spend.
Sunkeeper Tarim maybe could keep him alive in this situation.
Yeah. But... Alright, Neirea takes game number 1.
Jade Druid continuing to just pick up wins left and right. It is only lost in the mirror today, I believe. Yeah, maybe I lost once against Paladin and once in the mirror. Other than that, Jade Druid's just straight W's across the board.
And Neirea wanting to stop that from continuing, obviously with that ban of the Druid on the opponent's side, looking pretty smart right now.
Yeah, and it's good on him getting the Druid out of here, actually, because Druid can oftentimes find itself struggling against Rogue and Paladin. So queuing up Druid first, getting a win with it, normally I would say is not too important, but since it does have two slightly unfavorables on like staring it down, it's really good to just get it out of the way. Now this should be interesting. The Shaman deck has a lot of healing with double Jinyu Water Speaker, double Hot Spring Guardian, and double Spirit Echo. But activating them using the Spirit Echoes can be very tricky. It can be very difficult to have anything to suicide your minions into. As Mage, when they start burning you out, they often stop developing minions and just switch to a burn plan. So you have to kind of find neat and tricky ways to activate your Spirit Echoes.
Just volcano them.
Yeah, just volcano your own minions. Tidal Surge is going to be very helpful.
Yeah, that's even more healing.
Yeah, holy smokes. So he's got 12 from Jinyus, 8 from Tidal Surges, and then another 6 from the Hot Spring Guardians. And then he's got Stone Hills, which can then discover more Hot Spring Guardians.
Yeah, we're starting to see the plan as far as BunnyHoppor's lineup come out here, particularly with this N'Zoth Shaman. He's saying, all right, well, I can deal with aggro decks, but I can also deal with potentially Freeze Mage or Gunther Mage. And we'll see how well that plan turns out here.
Not fearing any weapons. He saw this deck before, played against Dr. Hippie, and there was not even Jade cards included. No Jade Claws, no Jade Lightning, none of that sort of thing. So he's not afraid of any of the weapons coming out of the Shaman, just decides to tempo out the Use, which makes a lot of sense.
So I initially thought that Neirea got out this Medivh Valet to start cleaning up totems, but I suppose it doesn't really need to even do that. Just
yeah, it's the more information you know about wacky decks, the worse they are. And we can already see Game 2 being played of BunnyHoppor's Shaman, because he played it once previously against Dr. Hippie. Neirea already knows no Flame Tongues in the deck, don't have to respect any of the totems. The totems just make his Volcano worse unless they're Spell Power Totem. And then he knows there's no weapons in the deck, so he has the ability to tempo out the Ooze. All these little things start to accumulate as you're able to kind of identify what's going on with a weird deck, and it starts to hurt the win rate of, you know, whatever the strange deck may be.
Did this Shaman play 3 times last series?
I believe it played 3 times, yeah, against Dr. Hippie. So almost every card in the entire deck is known by Neirea at this point if he watched the VOD and, you know, studied it a little bit.
Well, Neirea gonna see what he can't pick up off here. From Mario Glyph gets an 8-mana Pyroblast. It's 2013 again.
Yeah, the more totems you can keep on the field, the more awkward it is for BunnyHoppor to Spirit Echo, because you can force them to overdraw things with their totems. But they need to totem to discount the cost of Thing from below so they can Thing from below Spirit Echo. So it's kind of like a little catch-22 that you can kind of abuse with Control Shamans.
And BunnyHoppor is really towing this line between, you know, trying to develop, trying to get that Spirit Echo value, but at the same time, not taking too much damage from, the repetitive damage from the minions on the field. Because that can catch up to you. I'm going to commit Hot Spring Guardian. Feels like he just needs to get something on the board to contest.
Neirea picks up another minion he could commit to the board. It's a little bit scary to commit the 3rd minion, as Lightning Storm could potentially come out. You don't really want to give it too much value against your deck, as you're not really a minion-centric deck. He's thinking about playing it or not. Doesn't really.
Yeah, you could have gone for Ice Block plus Ping here instead.
Yeah.
So he's going to go for just the minion and Ping. It's somewhat resilient to Lightning Storm, just because you're rolling 50-50s on the right side of the board here.
Yeah. 2 3s are just not that valuable. So I guess you just commit it to the Storm anyway. You prioritize more the draw, as he already has an Ice Block in hand. He doesn't want to draw more secrets and, you know, reduce the value of the Arcanologist.
Yeah.
And he still has another one that he's got to find, too. So just lower the odds of getting secrets is fine for something to just die into Storm.
And Ice Bear is just not a valuable card at all in this matchup. The Shaman's really not going to be killing you at really any point. unless we're like, pretty late in the game, and they have, a bunch of Storm Guardians or something like that.
Yeah, well, Ice Barrier is not the greatest against a Storm Guardian. It still hits you through 2 for an Ice Barrier, but I guess it's something.
Something. Takes a little bit of the pain away. So BunnyHoppor's thinking, do I need to storm this, or can I just wait?
I was thinking about, is he going to Thing from Below Spirit Echo already? That's really fast.
Wow, okay.
He's just doing a very tempo-oriented Spirit Echo. And that's not going to get very much done. It's more confident.
Neirea says, well, you're going to go for tempo, I'm going to go for tempo as well. Yeah. Obviously, Polymorph can be pretty nice in the future if you're taking away a Spirit Echo on a minion that heals, but he's saying, well, this just gets damage in right now.
Mm-hmm. He could play the Stoneclaw Totem, upping his chances for spell power to 50%. Try and hit that Storm again. Oh, he's going to Dirty Rat Storm. Okay.
Dirty Rat, not probably has to commit a Hex.
Yeah, now you can't really Storm, you just have to Hex the minion. Otherwise, a lot of fear about that thing connecting. You don't want to take 7. But, the idea was hopefully to pull a small minion, maybe the second Arcanologist, and get the Storm off. But you can't feel too bad about pulling the Medivh out of the way. Now you don't really have to worry about that. And the timing was really good there by that Dirty Rat. He's going into Neirea's turn 7, and Neirea has the coin still. One of the reasons why you would hold coin that long is to be able to coin Medivh. So BunnyHoppor had an idea that there was potentially a Medivh there. He has the Hex ready for it. So it's not like lucky pull that he pulls the Medivh there. That's pretty calculated based on how the game's been panning out, and Neirea's holding the coin like that.
I'm actually somewhat surprised that Neirea doesn't go for a bit more damage with the Flame Strike right now. He could have pushed 5 more to face.
Yeah, but Flame Strike is one of the most valuable cards in your deck against Shaman.
Yeah, you're trying to kill him.
You got Alex. You're trying to pressure him into healing. You're not trying to win just yet. Okay. And Flame Strike can answer almost any Shaman board until they start getting infinite 10/10s, right? So I like holding on to that Flame Strike. It's such a great card versus what Shaman can do. Especially when paired with the Volcanic Potion, because a lot of the minions that they play are 5/5s.
Yeah. Well, none of that stuff in BunnyHoppor's hand right now. He does kind of want to deal with this board if you are him. Volcano does do so, and you can kind of follow up with Stonehill Defender, but it looks like he's going to go for your plan and up the chances of spell damage. 50-50 this time. Does not get it. Why does it always feel like it's spell damage every time or none of the time?
Shaman's a silly class.
Yeah.
Well, the backup plan. You always got to have a plan B.
Stonehill and Stonehill? Or maybe just Thing from Below?
Thing from Below. 0 mana 5/5s are good.
Right, but you can just get it anyway. Get a free Stonehill Defender.
He's not that confident.
Gotta believe. Oh, he's just insta-flame striking. Look at this. 6 damage in face. It's getting in there.
Yeah. I guess he finally said, you know what? This is the tipping point where face damage matters. And, yeah, BunnyHoppor now has to deal with this board and worry about being dead. Because this sets up lethal for Neirea. That's one of the main reasons why he uses the valuable resource of Flame Strike to push there, because Pyroblast is going to kill him. 8 mana pre-nerf Pyro.
BunnyHoppor took a turn to do so, but he's going to have to utilize the Volcano right now, I'd imagine. He does have a reasonable turn, though. He can Genuine Water Speaker as well as use his Thing from Below.
Yeah.
Unless he's worried about Spirit, or the Spirit Echo. But no, gets it on the board here. Not going to be worried about his opponent having a board again, at least from this point.
Right back down to 15. This is where BunnyHoppor really needs a Spirit Echo. If he had Spirit Echo here, he could double trade, replay the Genuine Water Speaker and the Thing from Below. Be sick.
Gonna invest the Hex. Is he gonna commit the Title Surge as well? No. Alright. Not afraid of dying, not quite yet.
Oh yeah, Nyrea's only on 9 mana. Or wait, no, he's on 10 now. He needs exactly double Fireball Frostbolt, so it's extremely unlikely for him to be able to kill you. Well, I guess it's the glyph.
It's got a Primordial, but yeah.
Yeah. It's still not super likely. You can't live in that much fear.
Yeah, and it is only one Title Surge, so you might as well save her for a situation like this. Pretty big bodyguard gets taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Making his way out of range. Frostbolt off the top for Neirea would be lethal.
8 mana Power Blast is the best. Well, in the meantime, Meteors can kind of sort of try to take care of this board. BunnyHoppor does have pretty decent positioning, however.
Yeah. That healing totem positioning.
He's a trooper.
Neirea can open up the positioning with the usage of the Volcanic Potion.
Yeah.
He's just going to launch the Pyroblast. He's abusing the fact that he's seen this deck before. He knows there's no burst. No Flame Tongues, no Jade Lightnings, no Jade Claws. You got 13 damage on board. I got 16 life. You can't kill me.
BunnyHoppor says, I can try, though. I can smack you in the face as much as possible.
Yeah. So, Neirea draws off the top for lethal. Does he get there? Does not.
That's not going to be lethal quite yet. He can take care of this Manatite Totem just to make sure that BunnyHoppor doesn't draw anything healy.
Right.
But does want to commit the ping to phase for obvious reasons.
Yeah. He pings to face. If there's no draw, you win. And you want to add a Storm Guardian to your opponent's deck. So the positioning of the Manatite is a little incorrect. You want it away from the Storm Guardian to play around Meteor because Neirea wants to kill that Storm Guardian, lowering the odds that BunnyHoppor can find heal. So he's got Ice Block up currently. You can't see the secret there, but it is currently up. So Meteor plus Hero Power sets up lethal and lowers the odds of BunnyHoppor drawing into that heal.
I'm going to go ahead and play the Mana Worm just for posterity's sake because, could be the difference. And BunnyHoppor needs a heal right now. We'll see if he can pick it up.
That's not it.
I cannot heal you unless your opponent's minion heals you somehow. And it cannot equip a minion either, or a weapon either, so it's not like you can use the Gluttonous Ooze. Even if you get a Voodoo Doctor off of this, it doesn't have the Battle Cry. Right. So that will be game number 2 going over to Neirea.
Yeah.
Double check to see if it isn't not the Ice Block. It is. And BunnyHoppor struggling with the Shaman yet again. It took a DC last time for him to finish off Dr. Hippie.
Yeah, and it was at its best when it was against Dr. Hippie, because Dr. Hippie had no idea what was going on. He didn't know if there were Flame Tongues. He didn't know if there was Jade Lightning. But Neirea showing that he was, he takes the time to study. And he studied the BunnyHoppor's game against Dr. Hippie, and now he is abusing that knowledge to the fullest and making quick work of that Shaman deck.
I would say the bigger advantage there for BunnyHoppor was the fact that he's going against the N'Zoth Paladin, but anyway. Alright, well, Murloc Paladin on the side of Neirea this time. Going off against the same Shaman. Let's see how it does against some more, streamlined deck that you see often on the ladder. Obviously the Mage is kind of that way as well, but this you see all the time. Not the fastest start for Neirea. Gonna have to play Rockpool Hunter just naked onto the field. He's pretty insecure about it. Look at his eyes.
You're gonna be able to gobble up some totems though, so it just gets work done. Or ignore the totems and punch them in the face.
Yeah, we've seen this before. The totems don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
For BunnyHoppor. And that's the issue, right? I think a lot of the most effective Shaman decks are ones that utilize totems very well, where it's even if you just hero power, your opponent has to respect that.
Neirea does not respect hero powers at all.
No,
especially healing totems.
BunnyHoppor is very good at rolling this healing totem.
Yeah, it's just always there watching the game. The ultimate spectator, Mr. Healing Totem.
It's like, it feels like the Warlock quest. It's just kind of like there on the field, not really doing anything. The Lakari, not, what am I thinking?
Yeah, Lakari Sacrifice.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. BunnyHoppor deciding if he wants to use the coin or use maybe a hex here, but he has to answer the War Leader one way or another. You don't want that getting Mega Sword.
No, not at all.
Spells dead.
Well, not anything really picked up here for Neirea. And if he wants to Aldor, he probably needs to kill off the totem first.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well kill off the totem, too, to improve your odds on Kodo hitting something relevant the following turn. And he's trying to debate right now, how aggressive does he want to be with this hand? He does have a solid curve, but the Aldor Battlecry is so powerful, and he says, you know what, I'm going to take this game, slow it down a little bit, not going to tempo Aldor. Take it easy.
Yeah, his aggression did get the coin out of his opponent, which is something. So he'll take that and kind of be on his way.
Right.
Alright, Zonal Defender, what can it pick up this time?
Earth Elemental.
Not too bad. And I'm curious if BunnyHoppor feels like paying for the overload. If he plays it next turn, he will have 3 mana the turn following, which does lead to an okay Hot Spring Guardian or the like. So just go for it.
Yeah. Kodo set up for by trading into the Healing Totem that was once ignored. BunnyHoppor not excited about that Hex draw. You see that?
It's like, that's not a card I really need right now. I already have my Hex for Tyrion. But that said, since he has 2 in the hand, he can just go ahead and Hex Letterrig Spikered Steed, and then use the other one for the Tyrion.
If he plays this Earth Elemental, he's about to get blown out so hard by this Aldor that Neirea held back.
Well, kind of. It still doesn't get through it.
He's overloaded for 3 next turn.
It's okay. He's got the Mogashan Warden in the way.
Yeah. That's an expensive Mogashan Warden. The 8 mana Mogashan Warden is not a card you want to play in your deck.
It's only double the cost. It's fine.
Yeah, that's painful.
All right, now we're just going for the biggest thing here, realizing that Wicker Flame doesn't really need the healing, doesn't really need the knowingness either. Just wants a big guy.
You got to try and play around Volcano. You don't want to trade too much into it and make Volcano a little worse for you.
Yeah. Well, a 3 mana Lightning Storm was a consideration here. So if you trade in the rock pool, you're giving an attack to your opponent essentially.
Sure. Yeah. He has 3 mana. He's overloaded. What am I talking about? Yeah. So holding back the trades to try and make Lightning Storm as little impactful as possible.
Yeah, and because Lightning Storm isn't that appealing, he realizes he doesn't need to trade in his Silverhand Recruit either. So Hot Spring Guardian can just go ahead and heal up good old 8 mana Mogashan Warden here.
Yeah, that is, I guess, the slight punish to bumping with the Kodo, is now your Kodo took 1 damage for no reason, because he gets to heal it up.
Ah, feels good. You ever go to Hot Spring?
I've never been to a hot spring.
They're really famous here in Japan.
Oh, yeah? Do they have guardians?
They have employees.
Does that count? Do they heal you? With waters?
You can get a massage, I guess.
There you go. I guess that's the same thing. Plus 3 health. Spike Ridge Steed on the steed.
Yeah, how does that work with the Kodo riding the steed here?
It's a pretty big extension into a Hex, but he kind of wants a Hex to come down because he wants to try and play Light Lord on the following turn and have BunnyHoppor have no answer for it.
Little does he know.
Yeah, little does he know, he's walking right into the double Hex hand. 14 health on board. So playing this gets up to 17 health on board. So something may live through Volcano.
Something may live.
Most likely the Kodo lives through Volcano.
It's beefy.
Yeah.
Volcano on a steed or on a stegosaur. Not even volcanoes can kill it.
So since BunnyHoppor has, dual Hex here, you have to imagine he's just gonna Hex the Kodo. Remove so much pressure from the board. And then what else does he do with his mana?
He could cycle the Mana Tide Totem. He could just play the Genie Water Speaker because that guy kind of rules over this board at that point once you've hexed.
Sure. And you get overloaded for one doing that. You don't really discount your thing from below very much, but you might just need to get back on the board. I'd like to try and see him maybe just Hex and Totem. Set up for, some sort of storm action going on in the next turn, right? Because you can go... Next turn is like...
Well, he's going to go for this totem instead.
Sure. Says just needs more AoE, I guess. More answers.
Doesn't able to pick that up. And Neirea says you probably have second Hex if you're going to do that. But
no.
I'm gonna commit to Rag Light Lord anyway. He also has Tyrion left in the deck, so he's kind of okay with this. And if he doesn't have Hex, then great, have Rag Light Lord.
Yeah, and this just fits the curve nicely. It allows him to, on the following turn, play out the Stonehill Defender and the Ancient Blossom. So he's just kind of following the curve, doing his thing. And if BunnyHoppor comes out with the second Hex here, he's not that upset because he has additional threats. Stonehill Defender can also hit a lot of targets Hex-worthy.
Is there any world where he just double AoEs?
He hits Spell Power. I could see that being a world, but the issue is Light Lord heals itself back up.
Right, but the
Oh, you mean Volcano, Lightning Storm Volcano. That would clear the board, right? You overload yourself for a lot, though. Overloading for 4 is kind of brutal, huh? This way he can try and set up for a Spirit Echo on the thing from below.
We keep running into the issue with this deck here from BunnyHoppor. Just a lot of, disparate cards that do mostly the same thing.
He's looking good this game. He's looking very favorable at the moment.
It's okay. It's okay.
He's got all the clear in the world, and he's starting to accumulate the cards necessary. He's discounting the thing from below. He's going to have the power Spirit Echo and try and lock out the game with that. His game plan's coming to fruition. And he's holding back the Volcano still, so that's very good, especially with the Finja in Neirea's hand.
I suppose the rest of his deck is just all value. So, do you see what you're getting there? White Eyes, Cairn, N'Zoth, another Spirit Echo.
Yeah, it's just... Eventually he runs out of AoE, and that's when Neirea's hero powers stack up and become a thing. He's just got to space out his threats accordingly, and he's been doing that quite nicely.
This is pretty big if he can get something impactful.
He can really buff his Cthulhu a lot.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. If you can get a Tyrion there after seeing 2 hexes, if you can get double Tyrion after having seen 2 hexes, you're in business, even no matter what they do.
Right. Well, the board's not that threatening, honestly. It's 8 power in play. Only one of them's a Murloc. What if we hero power pass? Just trying to set up for the double clear eventually. Your opponent's probably not going to commit any additional support to the board, right?
Yeah,
8's enough of a block, and he'll play around the AoE. So
There's limited healing, though, on the side of BunnyHoppor. He's used 1 Tidal Surge and 1 Hot Spring Guardian.
He's got 16 in his hand if he Spirit Echoes the guy. But
one thing to keep in mind is that it's really hard to deal with Tyrion, obviously, so he probably wants to hold back the Volcano for a turn where he goes Volcano into Ooze.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You can't Volcano, Ooze, and Storm in the same turn, so that's kind of weird. If Neirea can get enough pressure out, he can get a Tyrion board where you can clear it with Lightning Storm, Volcano, but you have to wait till the following turn to Ooze, so at least he gets some Ashbringer value.
Yeah, well, you get to heal back the attack, so there's that. All right, well, Neirea
is going in. Yeah. It's one of the better ways to play around Volcano. Just put a boatload of health on the board. And they can't get through it all, but how much health is that? 9,
quite a lot.
16, 21, 22, 23, 27, 35 health on the board. If you subtract 2 to 3 from all 7 of the minions, does Volcano clear?
So you said 37 total?
That's only on Neirea's side. You also got to factor in your healing totem and your Jinyu Water Speaker. He's looking for Spell Power Totem because he needs that. He hits it. Now we're looking at potentially something happening here.
So minus 21 or
well, he can't even play
28
Volcano this turn. He's just looking to try and get some Storm Power going through this.
Just weaken it up a bit.
Yeah. Which means Finge is going to live, which means all the power is coming right back.
The Megasaur doesn't even die, by the way.
Oh, my.
He can Tidal Surge down the Blossom on the left side and kill off the Megasaur or kill off the Tie-Color.
That might be worth doing. You also want to try and get these Spirit Echoes out of your hand because the Spirit Echo buff doesn't stack. So you got to do each thing from below individually. You can't go thing from below double Spirit Echo, then get back 2 thing from belows.
Oh. Were we proven wrong by Tap early on that one?
We were, yeah.
Oh, unfortunately. Feels bad. Well, Finja. Looks like he doesn't want to commit the Consecration right now. Could be useful in the future, especially because it's not super necessary. And picks up a War Leader and Biofin for his troubles. Get some more stuff on the field. And also just Hero Power, Craze Worshipper, play that Secret down. Getaway Kodo is reasonable.
That's the best one, man.
Yeah, it is the best one, sure. Get some value out of your gentle Megasaur. It is very gentle. And then some damage. Seems good.
Yeah, ignore the totem to help yourself against Volcano. Which does nothing here. It's just too much health too fast.
Didn't BunnyHoppor just AoE last turn? What just happened?
He did, yeah.
What happened?
This is what happens with synergy decks versus control decks. They set up just beautiful waves of attack that can really exploit the ways that the situational removal works. If you know what situational removal cards your opponent's playing, you know how the deck works, you know how to punish them. That's why I like aggressive decks the most because you feel like you're in control. If you know all 30 cards in your deck, you scout them, you identify their game plan, then you know how to exploit it, and then you get to be the one in the driver's seat. Whereas the control player is always the one that just is susceptible to the other guy. You have to react to what they're doing.
It's kind of hard to react with this hand.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? Neirea has the power to make it so you can't react. He's trying to take that away from you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and use that Spirit Echo right now. Just because there's not really a whole lot else he could have done. And how many more Murlocs are even left in the deck for Neirea to pull at this point? Well, there has to go. Wow! Yeah. Wow, that card.
He's got Cold Light Seers in his Aldor deck.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a little more aggressive than we thought. Cold Light Seers is just a good card.
Jeez. That. Oof. Wow.
It's lethal.
That's a lot of health. Is it lethal?
Yeah. It's either lethal or it's an impossible board that turns into lethal.
Yeah, true.
I think it's lethal.
3, 4 is lethal. 1 over, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Neirea's going to take it 3-0. Just punishing a N'Zoth deck, which has been the theme of today. the players with N'Zoth decks have been getting played around. You know, it's reactive decks have the ability, not even just N'Zoth decks, Priest also just got played around. It was up against a deck that started with turn 1 patches, and the Priest responded with Northshire Cleric, Coin, Northshire Cleric, and still lost. It's it's pretty crazy. It's just being proactive is so powerful in this game, and just if you're a good player, like everyone in this tournament, then you can kind of set the pace of the game, play around the way that your opponent's cards work, create awkward board states, and profit, just like Neirea just did.
Yeah, profit. They could do so. Because the first place winner of this entire tournament, when it's all said and done, does get $11,000. But you see the results of today. BunnyHoppor going 1-1, but getting that negative game score in the end. Neirea, an awesome day, going 6-1 total as far as his games are concerned. So if there are any tiebreakers, he's going to be feeling pretty good about that. Frozen, not so great. Nyman, obviously, on the upper end of that. And Tice, a bit up and down, but he's still in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there you go.
The whole groups there. We have a lot more Hearthstone to be played. A lot of these players are still in China, so...
Yeah. What that does mean is that tomorrow we're going to have a lot more Group A matches. We're not going to be mixing up a whole lot, so Group A is going to be a bit more formed after tomorrow. So if you want to see how this all plays out, make sure you tune in. As you see here, Dr. Hippie going off against Neirea to start the day, 0-2 versus 2-0. And depending on how that turns out, Neirea could really cement his position at the top of the group, or we can muddle things a lot there. And you can see all the way down the matches continuing here at StarLadder.
Yeah, make sure you tune in tomorrow to see the matches. That's all that we got for you guys today from the whole crew here at StarLadder, myself, Firebed, and D2. Make sure you guys have a beautiful weekend and say Happy Mother's Day to your mom.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.